thanks very much again to Diggers and Dealers for allowing Meteoric the opportunity to present at this conference and share with you some of the highlights that we've seen over the last 12 months with the Caldera project. It's been a very busy year for us. There's been an awful lot of project advancement that's gone on in that time. We've kicked a lot of goals, and it's a good opportunity for us to sit down and share that with you right now. Okay, just a bit of a snapshot with regards to our location. So we're located in that very southern portion of Minas Gerais. Minas Gerais, I can't say this enough, Minas Gerais is a great place to do business. Brazil is a great place to do business. I've developed projects in several parts of the world, and the support that we get from this part of the world is exceptional. And really pleased to be working with not only the federal government, the state government as well. The support we're seeing from those guys, absolutely tremendous. So we're located in that very southern portion. Minas Gerais, very well-known mining centre, lots of mining operations. I think around 1,300 permitted operations operating within the Minas Gerais state itself. We're very close to the large town centres of Belo Horizonte. Belo Horizonte is important. A lot of big iron ore operations which are operating in that space. A lot of technical expertise. So a nearby mining centre for us to draw that technical expertise from and move forward with. Rio de Janeiro, and to the south of us, Sao Paulo. Sao Paulo being one of the biggest cities in South America. And with that come along opportunities as well. Sao Paulo is the home for Guarulhos. It's the largest airport in South America. Great bit of infrastructure to be close to. The largest port in South America is located next to Sao Paulo as well, the Santos port, which is where we'll be looking to bring material in and also exporting our product out from. These are all major centres very close to our mine in Poços de Caldas. We're very blessed to have this sort of setup. The drive between Guarulhos, when you land at Sao Paulo, up to Poços de Caldas, you're on a 3-lane highway. You're driving through the industrial heartland of Brazil. As far as you can see, on either side of that drive is industry. Brazil is a highly industrialised country. For that reason, not only is there great support with regard to getting a project up and away, but also a great future downstream, going midstream, downstream, for offtakes, and also developing those relationships with OEMs. So, we're in a really good spot. Can't say that enough. Just recently, I guess you'll know, or will have known that we've just raised some money. We've now got about $41 million in the Treasury, so that's going to certainly provide us a nice long runway going forward with these studies that we're doing. Again, some of the infrastructure, we've been through some of that. I guess the other thing about Poços de Caldas is it's very well serviced. Within the microcosm of Poços de Caldas itself, we've talked about the wider region, but within Poços de Caldas itself, we've got companies like CBA and Alcoa that have been operating and mining bauxite, refining bauxite on their area for the last 70-odd years. With that comes a great culture, a great workforce. We've got the technical expertise within that ecosystem. And we've got great infrastructure connections as well, paved roads leading right up to our project site. We're looking to operate in the south in that Capo de Mal area. Same with grid power. We've got an ample amount of grid power that we can connect to within a couple of kilometres of that site. So this is not an infrastructure project, as most mining projects typically are. This is a plug and play. We really are focusing on developing the mine and taking that forward. A little bit about the flow sheet, and this really starts to boat in as to why it's such a low-cost operation. We are mining clays. This is the same process that you see in nickel laterite mining, the same process that you see in bauxite mining. Okay, so it's a low-cost mining environment. There's no drill and blast. There's no crushing and grinding. We're simply mining the clays. We're stripping off the topsoil, mining the clays, screening the clays, putting them into solution inside a tank, adding the ammonium sulphate. Ammonium sulphate is the chosen lixiviant, but there are other options in that space as well, and we are exploring those. Magnesium sulphate is an obvious choice to look at, and there's certainly some positive opportunities that come around with using that particular lixiviant. We put the rare earth elements pushed into solution. There's an impurity removal phase, and then they're simply precipitated down. This is a very simple flow sheet, and I know what complicated flow sheets look like. Very simple, very low technical risk, and with that comes a low capital cost as well. We precipitate down, We produce a carbonate, the clays are washed, the ammonium sulphate or whatever other lixiviant we choose to use at the end of the day is recycled, and those clays are filter pressed and taken back to the pit and backfilled. No tailings dams in this process, and that's a commitment that we've made to the local community. Tailings dams are a very sensitive issue in Brazil at the moment, and it was an issue that was raised very early, and we've incorporated that issue into our flow sheet, and we're certainly taking that forward. Sorry, I think I've skipped a slide there. Apologies for that. We'll just go into the production. You can see the production profile here, and this is one of the great opportunities that this project has. It has a lot of headspace. You can see the yellow line in the graph on the right-hand side, spot price that we bought the scoping study out to, and below that you can see our cost per kilo of NdPr and that green dotted line. There's a lot of headspace here, and the reasons why we have that headspace, again, that low operating cost environment, that low technical risk that we have with our flow sheet, they all bode well for providing that low-cost ecosystem that this project has. Over the 20-year mine life, and it was only capped at 20 years because it was an arbitrary number that we used. We could have pushed it out further. We see a very high grade profile, grades in excess of 4,000 ppms for the first 4 to 5 years. And with Figueira coming on, there was a recent announcement out this morning on our Figueira licence update, around 40 million tonnes, 40 to 50 million tonnes at plus 4,000 ppm. Now that's going to fold in exceptionally well to this story. This very high-grade early year story that we have, we're going to extend those high-grade years out again. We may see 7, 8, 9 years of plus 4,000 ppm a feed grade coming into that project over that time frame. And what that does, in a simple sense, is it reduces cost. We produce more TREO for those same fixed costs. We lower our operating costs. So some real advantages in that space going forward. You can see here we're talking about some of the metrics that came out of the scoping study. So life of mine, C1 cash costs of around $7. C1 cash costs for the first 5 years of around $5.50 for those first four years or so. And as I said before, we're going to push those out with those Figueira tonnes coming on board. And you'll certainly see those coming through in the scoping study going forward. Cost estimate, $297 million, with a fairly large lick of contingency, and we'll certainly accept that. Contingency is important at this stage. There's a lot of unknowns in this project, and we haven't bent to some of those forces which really push you to push out a very sharp capital cost number. We've let the studies speak for themselves, and we haven't fiddled with that contingency in any way, shape or form. We've got a long list of opportunities in the optimisation space around capital and operating cost, and we're certainly rolling those out with the pre-feasibility study going forward. And you'll start to see those capital costs come down, you'll start to see those operating costs come down, you'll start to see that grade profile increase over time. So lots of opportunities in that space going forward. At the Adamas price deck that we used, an NPV of around $1.235 million, or billion dollars, sorry. So highly profitable, this is pre-tax, highly profitable operation at those sorts of numbers. And a pre-tax IRR of 38%. So some great metrics there, and I look forward to sharing some better metrics going forward. We're certainly going to see some uplift in pricing over the next few years. It's a great time to be developing a project. Not a great time to be commissioning a project or operating a project, but certainly a great time to be developing. We certainly look to be in place to take advantage of that almost inevitable price lift that we're going to see at some stage in the future going forward. Mining operations, we spoke very quickly about that, but again, we work in a directional phase. We have near mine, high grade opportunities right adjacent to the processing facility, and this is really important. These are very cheap tonnes, and we're certainly looking to exploit those going forward. You can see the pits in the top right-hand side going forward, and in the bottom area you can see or the bottom slide, you can see the backfilled areas going forward. It's a sequential mining process. We mine, we create a void, we create a backfill product, we backfill those pits, and we rehabilitate as we go. Much like you see in a sand mine, same sort of approach. Dry stack tailings, we're having great success with the test work that we're doing in that space as well. Mine schedule, just again, demonstrating what we're seeing in those early years with regards to grade. We make an awful lot of metal in those early years, and we're looking to build that out with the Figuera story coming forward. So you look forward to seeing an extended runway of high-grade production with this project as we progress. Metallurgy and processing. So this is the back end of the flow sheet is something that's been raised quite a bit in the past, and we've spent an awful lot of time and extra effort making sure that this part of the story is well covered. And what you can see in these photographs is filter cake. This is the cleaned and rinsed spent ore. This is the product that goes back into the pit. Please come by to the booth. We've got some examples of it sitting in the booth. Tony, our metallurgist, would love to show you what that looks like. Very hard, stiff, dry, crunchy sort of material that's going to go back in. We don't see at this stage any technical risks coming from that filtration process with this story. So as I said before, we spent a lot of extra time. In the background there you can see Tony holding some filter cake. There's around 4 to 5 tonnes of material there that's gone through the Fremantle Metallurgy lab, testing all various zones of the licences. And as you can see, we're getting a great filter cake coming out of that process. So that's boding really well as far as the technical risk goes with this project. We're absolutely spending a lot of time trying to cancel that, and it's paying off in spades. It's looking really good. Resource and reserve development. The recent Figuera resource has seen the resource upgrade now sitting at around 740 million tonnes. We started that journey at 409 million tonnes, so there's been some significant growth there in the last 12 months or so. Grade really hasn't changed. We're seeing more of the same. We are seeing, though, with that infill drilling that comes with this, we are seeing discrete high-grade zones that we can exploit, and they're the ones that we're looking to bring forward in the schedule. So we continue to explore through the bit. 6 out of the 69 licences we've drilled. This tenement package is grossly underexplored, and as you can see, the continuous nature of those licences too bodes really well for resource extension. Capo de Mel in particular, the southern licence of Capo de Mel, and we'll get to a slide at the very end of the deck, which is going to show the high wall we have on that very southern boundary. The only thing that's stopping us there at the moment is that tenement boundary. It's certainly going to be a priority target for us going forward. We're going to get in there, we're going to drill that out. The high-level met studies that we've undertaken with some of the holes in that southern licence directly to the south of Capo de Mel have brought back excellent results, so we're looking to build from those and go forward. Key development programs, you can see the list of partners that we have there, but again, we continue to push the pre-feasibility study. It's about 40% of the way through, including the Figuera mineral resource estimate, which came to market today. OPEX and CAPEX reduction, they're a main focus for us going forward, and we think there are lots of opportunities for us to bring that down, so we're looking forward to bringing that to you in that next round of work. And we're also very pleased to announce that we've started the journey with regards to separation as well. So we're about to kick that off, starting off with a scoping study and then building into the test work phase for that. Metallurgy, completion of that test work package this year. That'll be done fairly soon. Commencement of separation oxides test work program, I've just mentioned that. The demonstration facility in Poços de Caldas itself is something that we're looking to get in place fairly soon. Now that's going to be important. We have a lot of inbound requests for product. We have off-takers that we are talking to. They all need to have sample, and we need to produce that sample at this particular facility. So we'll look forward to getting that in place and getting that working. And again, that extra emphasis on filtration and dewatering. And environmental approvals. We've got great support from the State Government of Minas Gerais and Invest Minas. And through them, through our environmental consulting group, ALGER, we are making great progress. The EIS report has been submitted. And I'm very pleased to say that at the moment, about 30% of the way through that permitting process, we are on track. So the construction permit timeframe for December next year is absolutely holding. Just quickly, I can see I'm running out of time here, so apologies for that. But funding and offtake, as I mentioned before, we have lots of inbound in the offtake space. We are certainly looking to be oversold. So really for us now it's a matter of picking and choosing who we should be thinking about going forward with in that separation space and beyond over time. More recently we received $250 million worth of EXIM funding. That's the first start for the debt financing process in the form of an ECA loan, but we are talking to others. We're talking to the Brazilian Development Bank. We're also talking to facilities in the EU as well. So lots of support in the debt funding space. Grant money is something that we're working very hard with as well, with the US government in particular, but also the Brazilian government as well. There are certainly significant funds available for supporting projects like ours to get up. Binding agreement with NEO Performance Materials. This was an important first step. NEO are a great partner to have, and we are working towards closing out that term sheet. Again, they need product for us to be able and do that work. So we continue to progress in that space, and NEO are an important partner too in that sense, because not only are they in the separation space, but they're also in the magnet making space. So that ability to build out the value chain further downstream is absolutely real and exists. So we look forward to going forward with those guys. And multiple other inbounds coming through. Strategic partnerships are also something we're looking at as well, particularly in the OEM space, but particularly those that are sympathetic to the industry that we're in, and those ongoing steps in that chain as we go further down the value chain. Just quickly on community, really good community acceptance. We had a community support rating of around 89%. Now, this is one of the highest ones I've ever come across in my project development career. But particularly the communities in the south of the caldera, very supportive and looking forward to seeing this project get up and us being able to take it forward. And just closing off, and you can see a great snapshot there of the proposed mine development, and in the very near foreground, just behind the process plant, you can see the Capo de Mel area, that high-grade zone. But what we are looking forward to go forward with, one of the reasons why this is such a special deposit, very high-grade resource, extremely high-grade resource. It's absolutely outside of the bell curve with regards to clay deposits. We have very strong response to ammonium sulphate wash. This is a true ionic clay deposit, and ammonium sulphate has a great response to this ammonium sulphate flow sheet. So we get great recoveries. It's a very simple flow sheet. Low technical risk with this project. All that folds into a low operating cost, a low capital intensity, and really strong financial metrics. And as I said before, we look forward to bringing you some vastly updated capital cost, operating cost numbers and grade profiles as we continue to take the project forward over the next 12 months or so. Thanks very much for your time, everyone.